Now, Prabhuji, can we start, Prabhuji? I think 7:60 now.
Yeah, yes, Prabhu. Yes, yeah.
We can start, Prabhuji. Sankarshan Nitai, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Prabhu, I'm audible, right? Hare Krishna.
Sankarshan Nitai, Prabhu. I cannot hear you, Prabhuji.
Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Prabhu, am I
Yeah,
audible?
yes, Prabhuji. Now you are audible, Prabhu.
Okay, Prabhu. Yes, yeah. Hare
We
Krishna.
can start, Prabhuji.
Yeah, yes, Prabhu. We can start. Yeah.
Hare Krishna devotees, Dandavat Pranam. Welcome to Nitysm Bhagavata Sevaya. Today we are very fortunate to have the association of His Grace Sankarshan Nitai, Prabhu, who will be taking us to the chapter number 3, canto 5, sloka number 4 to 6, the appearance of Rishabhadev. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Over to
Krishna.
you.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, you will be sharing the screen by yourself, Prabhuji.
Yes, I'll share, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Okay, yes, yeah. Okay. Hare Krishna. So please accept my humble obeisances to all the Vaishnavas present here. So we'll start with the prayers. Let me share the screen for the sloka. So, Prabhu, you please let me know if you are able to see it, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji, we can see, Prabhu.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhiraye Nashtaprayeshvabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumara Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. We are reading from 5th canto, 3rd chapter, text number 4 to 5. Rutvija uchuhu arhasi muhur arhatamarhanam asmakam anupathanam namo nama iti etavatsat upashikshitam ko arhati puman prakriti guna vyatikara matir anisha ईश्वरस्य परस्य प्रकृति पुरुषयोर अर्वाक्तानाभिर नाम रूपाकृतिभिः रूप निरूपणं सकल जन निकाय वृजीन निरसन शिवतम प्रवर गुण गणैक देश कथा कथनाद्रुते. So we'll read Rutviju Uchuhu, the priest said, Arhasi, please accept. Muhuhu, again and again, Arhatama, O most exalted, worshipable person, Arhanam, offering of worship, Asmakam, of us, Anupathanam, who are your servants, Namaha, respectful obeisances. Namaha, respectful obeisances. Iti, thus, Etavat, so far, Sat, by exalted personalities, Upasikshitam, instructed, Kaha, what, Arhati, is able to, Puman, man, Prakriti, of material nature, Guna, of the modes, Vyatikara, in the transformations, Matihi, whose mind is absorbed, Anishaha, who is most incapable, Ishwarasya, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Parasya, beyond, Prakriti Purushayo, the jurisdiction of the three modes of material nature, Arvaktanabihi, which do not reach up to or which are of this material world, Nama Rupa Akritibihi, by names, forms, and qualities, Rupa, of your nature or position, Nirupanam, ascertainment, perception, Sakala, all, Jana Nikaya, of mankind, Vrajina, sinful reactions, Vrajin, Nirasana, which wipe out, Shivatama, most auspicious, Pravara, excellent, Guna Gana, of the transcendental qualities, Ekadesha, one part, Kathana, by speaking, Rite, excellent. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The priests began to offer prayers to the Lord, saying, O most worshipable one, sorry, O most worshipable one, we are simply your servants. Although you are full in yourself, please, out of your causeless mercy, accept a little service from us. Your eternal servants, we are not actually aware of your transcendental form, but we can simply offer our respectful obeisances again and again, as instructed by the Vedic literatures and authorized acharyas. Materialistic living entities are very much attracted to the modes of material nature, and therefore they are never perfect. But you are above the jurisdiction of all material conceptions. Your name, form, and qualities are all transcendental and beyond the conception of experimental knowledge. Indeed, who can conceive you? In the material world, we can perceive only material names and qualities. We have no other power than to offer our respectful obeisances and prayers unto you, the transcendental person. The chanting of your auspicious transcendental qualities will wipe out the sins of all mankind. That is the most auspicious activity for us, and we can thus partially understand your supernatural position. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has nothing to do with the material perception. Even the impersonalist Sankaracharya says, Narayana Paro Avyakta. Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is beyond the material conception. We cannot concoct the form and attributes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We must simply accept the description given in the Vedic literatures about the Lord's form and activities, as stated in the Brahma Samhita 5.29. Chintamani Prakhara Sadma Sukalpa Vriksha Laksha Vruteshu Surabhi Abhipalayantam Lakshmi Sahasrashata Sambrama Sevyamanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the first progenitor, who is tending the cows, yielding all desires in abodes built with spiritual gems and surrounded by millions of purpose trees. He is always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds and thousands of goddesses of fortune. We can have some conception of the absolute truth, his form, and his attributes simply by reading the descriptions given in the Vedic literatures and authoritative statements given by exalted personalities like Brahma, Narada, Shukadeva Goswami, and others. Srila Rupa Goswami says, Ata Sri Krishna Namadi na bhaved grahyam indriyai. We cannot conceive the name, form, qualities of Sri Krishna through our material senses. Because of this, other names for the Lord are Adhokshaja and Aprakrita, which indicate that he is beyond any material senses. Out of his causeless mercy upon his devotees, the Lord appeared before Maharaj Nabhi. Similarly, when we are engaged in Lord's devotional service, the Lord reveals himself to us. Sevon mukhe jihvada swayameva spuratyada. This is the only way to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktyamam Abhijanati Yavan Yaschasmi Tattvataha. One can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead through devotional service. There is no other way. We have to hear from the authorities and from the Shastras and consider the Supreme Lord in terms of their statements. We cannot imagine or concoct forms and attributes of the Lord. Omagyanatimirandhasya gnananjanashalakaya Chakshuronmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadhamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देव श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगणा ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतिषे नमः हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So I would like to welcome all the devotees for today's morning Bhagavatam class. So I would like to seek blessings of all the Vaishnavas here so that I speak in Parampara for the pleasure of Hari, Guru and Vaishnavas. So here the context is Maharaj Nabhi and his good wife Meru Devi. They were actually performing a yajna. So although the yajna is a formality, they were doing it with a pure intention and pure heart. So the Lord is very much pleased with their attitude. And then he appeared in the sacrificial arena. So in the previous sloka we have seen the Lord's beautiful form, the description of the Lord's form we have seen in the previous sloka. So if you see this, Lord Vishnu appeared before King Nabhi with 4 arms. He was very bright and he appeared to be the best of all personalities. Around the lower portion of his body, he wore a yellow silken garment. On his chest, there was a mark of Srivatsa, which always displays beauty. He carried a conch shell, lotus flower, disc, and club, Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma, and he wore a garland of forest flowers, Vanamali, and the Kaustubha. He was beautifully decorated with a helmet, earrings, bangles, belt, pearl necklace, armlets, ankle bells, and other bodily ornaments, bedecked with radiant jewels. Seeing the Lord present before them, King Navi and his priests and associates felt just like poor people who have suddenly attained great riches. They received the Lord and respectfully bent their heads and offered him things in worship. So this is the beauty of the Lord. So it is mentioned that they felt like they're just a poor people, just got the full riches. The same, so the king is actually the emperor of the whole world, but still he's also feeling he's a poor because the material things can, they cannot give the complete satisfaction to the soul, right? So the same thing we have seen in the Dhruv Maharaj case also, that he was aiming for something very, very unimaginable, very, very big, the kingdom of the better than his great grandfather. But the same Dhruva, when he saw Lord face to face, he was seeing that Kachan Vichinvan Apidevya Ratnam Swamin Kritardhosmi Varam Nayache. My dear Lord, I was searching for a broken piece of glass, but in return you have given me something very, very rare and diamond. It's a diamond. So actually, because why? Because that is the thirst of the soul to see the beauty of the Lord, to see the beauty, that is the thirst of the Lord. So I was hearing, see, when somebody is thirsty, he actually, no matter what anything is given to him, he is not satisfied except the water, right? So similarly, the soul is thirsty for Krishna. So unless the soul is getting in touch with Krishna, seeing the beauty of Krishna, all these things, the soul can never be happy. The thirst is still there, no matter whatever is given to that person. Even the entire, we have seen the case of Hiranyakashipu, we have seen the case of Ravana. They are the, literally, they are, they are the conqueror of the entire three world, but still they were unhappy. Why? Because the thirst for the soul is not satisfied. Like recently, Radha Gopinath was also telling, right? So there was a conversation between Yagnavakya and Maitreyi. So she was asking that out of all needs for the person, there is a physical need, emotional need, intellectual need, all these needs. If there is one need, if that one need is satisfied, all the other needs are automatically taken care. That is that spiritual need. That the need of the soul, if it is taken care, no problem. All the other needs, even if it is not taken care, also somewhat it's taken care, right? So that is what we have seen here. Now coming to the current shloka. So here the priests of the yagna, they were actually offering the prayers to Lord. They've bent their heads in a most reverential mode, and then they are offering the prayers. O most worshipable one. So they were telling. So this is actually called Anuttama. Sorry, in the, you can see here. Yeah, Arhattama, O most exalted worshipable person. So there is a superlative degree, and there are three levels, right? Good, better, best. Like that, there is something like Guhya, Guhyatara, Guhyatama. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells, right? There are three levels. So similarly here, Arhatama means the most exalted person in the three worlds, and the entire creation is the Supreme Lord. The same thing we have seen in the Rajaswa Yagna also, when Yudhishthira Maharaj, he is actually the emperor of the whole world, and everybody accepted. That is what is the prerequisite of doing that yagna. And in that Rajaswa yagna, there is a part of the ceremony is Agra Puja, where the king selects some person who is the most worshipable of the entire world, entire emperor, the entire creation, the entire kingdom. So Yudhishthira Maharaj was actually selecting Krishna, Lord Krishna. And then there were so many uproars from different people, Shishupal and all these people. There were a lot of uproars. So that time Bhishma was telling that in this assembly, can you show me someone who is as spotless as Krishna? Because nobody is, everybody is having a lot of this one, in a lot of shortcomings, but the Krishna is spotless. Lord Krishna is spotless. He himself is telling that I am actually following the Brahmacharya Vrata right from the, throughout my life. But Krishna is, I am not as brahmachari as Krishna. Like that, he's actually glorifying Krishna. That I am not as pure as Krishna. Like that, he's telling that. So Krishna is the most worshipable person in the entire world. And then here they're telling, we are simply your servants. No, so this is again, one of the most important thing to understand. The moment one thinks that he is a master, then it is said that it is always alone to be at the top. Means if somebody is thinking that they are the master, actually they are deprived of all the joy and the bliss in the spiritual life. So I was hearing that, why that the joy is not there in the spiritual life, because the hidden feeling of I am the master is there. If only if somebody can cultivate the mood of a servant of a servant of a servant, then he can actually tap that bliss and the joy in the spiritual life. So here they are telling that we are simply your servant, not just the servant. Actually, it is said we are the servant of the servant of the servant. So we have seen in the King Kulashekara's prayers. So I'll just show that one prayer, what he is offering. You see this thing? Majjanmana phalamidam madhukaita bhare matprananadhiya matprardhaniya madanugraha esha eva twadbhrutya bhrutya paricharaka bhrutya bhrutya bhrutyasya bhrutya iti mam smaralokanatha. Means he's telling that, oh enemy of Madhu and Kaitaba, oh Lord of the universe, the perfection of my life, and the most cherished mercy you could show me would be for you to consider me the servant of 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 your servant. There are 7 times the servant is there. Svadbhritya bhritya parijaraka bhritya bhritya bhrityasya bhrityeti. So there are 7 times the servant is. So this is the constitutional position of a jiva, to be always in the mode of that mood. Okay, so this is King Kulashekara's prayer that let just be in the mode of that servant. So they are just offering that we are simply your servants. And the next one is, although you are full in yourself, please, out of your causeless mercy, accept a little service from us. So this is one more. So many times we are offering, the bhoga and so many other items. This is the mode that, my dear Lord, you are full in yourself. You are Atma Rama, Atma Kama. There is no need for you. You doesn't need anybody to satisfy your desires. But it is out of for my benefit. You are actually, please accept my offering. That's what. So that is the very important mode. Just like somebody is taking the water from the Ganga and then giving back to Ganga, Mother Ganga. So it is not in a mood of, oh, Mother Ganga, I am giving the water. No, it is your own water, but I am giving it. But please accept, and then purify. Please accept. So this is the mood that one actually asks or giving anything to Krishna. That Krishna is mercifully accepting. He is actually apta kama, means he doesn't need anyone to be satisfied. So there is a shloka, nice shloka in the Bhagavatam that tells about this apta kama. So it says, Srimad Bhagavatam 2.7.7. Great stalwarts like Lord Shiva can, by their wrathful glances, overcome lust and vanquish him, yet they cannot be free from the overwhelming effects of their own wrath. Such wrath can never enter into the heart of him, the Lord, who is above all this. So, how can lust take shelter in his mind? So it is about there is a context of Madan Cupid, how Lord Shiva was becoming angry and then making. So here in the Prabhupada, in the purport Prabhupada writes, you see, when Lord Shiva was engaged in severely austere meditation, Cupid, the demigod of lust, threw his arrow of sex desire. Lord Shiva, thus being angry at him, glanced at Cupid in great wrath, and at once the body of Cupid was annihilated. Although Lord Shiva was so powerful, he was unable to get free from the effects of such wrath. But in the behavior of Lord Vishnu, there is no incident of such wrath at any time. On the contrary, Bhrigumani tested the tolerance of the Lord by purposely kicking his chest, but instead of being angry at Bhrigumani, the Lord begged his pardon, saying the Bhrigumani leg might have been badly hurt because his chest is too hard. So you see, there was
Hare
a
Krishna, Prabhuji. Sorry
Prabhu.
to interrupt, Prabhuji. Can you adjust your camera, Prabhuji, a little bit? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
So now, Prabhu.
Yeah, it's okay, Prabhuji.
Now it's okay. Yeah, yeah. So here you see, we have seen the past name of Bhrigumani. He was actually giving mental offense to Lord Shiva. No, mental offense to, I think, Lord Brahma, and verbal offense to Lord Shiva, and physical offense to Lord Vishnu. The degree is becoming more and more. But still, how the Lord is tolerant and then used. So he, at the end, Prabhupada writes in this thing, the Lord is known as Apta Kama, or one who can fulfill his desires by himself. He does not require anyone's help to satisfy his desires. The Lord is unlimited, and therefore his desires are also unlimited. All living entities but the Lord are limited in every respect. Now he's telling a nice point. How then can the limited satisfy the desires of the unlimited? The conclusion is that absolute personality of Godhead has neither lust nor anger. And even if there is sometimes a show of lust and anger by the absolute, it should be considered as an absolute benediction. So that's what. So Lord is called Aptakama. He doesn't need anyone. So that is why they're actually praying here that, my dear Lord, please accept the little service from us. This is the same thing. Many people tell that why Lord Ram actually took help from the monkeys. It is not that Lord Ram needs them, but he's lovingly engages them in the service. Yeah. So that is the one. The same thing we can see that when the Lord manifests in the deity form, most magnanimous deity form, it is simply for our sake, that our tendency is only to see everything material, the jivas in this world. So, but Lord is transcendental. The same thing comes in this translation and purport also. Then how one can contact the Lord? Because we are material, Lord is spiritual. There is no connection. It is like an oil in the water. You put the oil in the water, it is just like, does not mix only. So how a material jiva can actually connect to the Lord who is spiritual completely, transcendental? It is because the Lord agrees to manifest in the material form of wood, of stone, of like that. There are different elements in which Lord agrees by the proposal of a pure devotee. He comes and then he accepts the service of the devotees. That actually it is his causeless mercy. Only the foolish people say that there is no need of deity worship, or all the acharyas everywhere you see they are simply installing the deities. Why? In order for the people to be engaged. So here they are telling that we are not actually aware of your transcendental form, but we can simply offer our respectful obeisances again and again as instructed by the Vedic literature and authorized acharya. Now, this is something little confusing. See, they are actually seeing the form. Correct. The Lord is in front of them and they're telling that they are not aware of the form. What does it mean? That means that it is not just by seeing the Lord we can understand the Lord. Correct. So it is by hearing about him, the karna. When we hear about him, then we can understand. The famous pastime of Prabhupada's we have seen, when all the devotees were actually going to take darshan of I think Ananta Sesha Sai, I think in the temple. Prabhupada sat down with Bhaksan Saraswati Thakur just to hear about him. Then he is telling that what will I get without knowing about Lord? Even if I see also, that means not seeing. So the actual seeing is through hearing. Correct. So that is why it is recommended when we are going for yatras or dham, we actually hear about the place from the bona fide acharyas, so that we develop that affection. So here they are telling that we are not aware actually. So we can see that the same thing in the Krishna Lila also, when Akrura came and then took Krishna to Mathura. That time, all the cowherd men and Nandamara, they went little ahead to the Mathura, and they were there in the outskirts. And Krishna, Balaram, Akrura, they reached outskirts, and Krishna was telling that Akrura, you please go ahead. I will stay with my friends, and then you inform this Kamsa that I'll come tomorrow. So that time, Krishna and all his Gopa friends, they started to enter into Mathura. The first person they entered is actually there is a washerman. We all know that pastime, right? The washerman, he is actually the servant of Kamsa. He is actually preparing the clothes of Kamsa. So Lord Krishna has asked him that please give me the clothes. But this person was he is completely against. He became enraged. What? How dare to ask the clothes of king comes up like that, he's telling. So it is see the supreme Lord with his merciful glance and then smile present in front of him, but he is not understanding that he is the supreme Lord. And there is a twist also. It is not that he is not an ordinary, that washerman is also not ordinary person. According to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, some Acharya, he was telling that this washerman, he was practicing thousands of lifetimes of tapasya to see the Lord face to face. He was practicing such a long tapasya, and Lord came in front of him, but he is not able to understand. Correct? Why? Because of the bad association he had with Kamsa. So it is not that we without having that proper mode and attitude of a servant, mood of a servant, we can actually understand Lord by seeing also. So correct. So that is very important. So it is not very important. So it is very important to have that mood. that then only we can actually see able to understand. So here that is one thing, and the second thing they're telling is, so as per the Vedic literature and authorized acharyas, correct? And also this is also very important because the lot is the same we can see here. See, the materialistic living entities are very much attracted to the modes of material nature, and therefore they are never perfect. Why? Because they had these four defects. We know that their senses are imperfect. They tend to commit mistakes. They tend to get illusion and commit mistakes, and then they try to cheat others. We have seen in the history there are so many cheating that happened in the name of science. Correct? Why? Because the nature of a jiva, sorry, the conditioned jiva is always imperfect. Then people may say, why you are studying the scriptures? That is also written by an ordinary person only who is having these imperfections. No. Why? Because Vyasadev is beyond all these imperfections. The same we can see that the Bhagavatam it comes. Vyasadev is actually beyond these four defects. The same thing is told. See, there is a connection you can see here. In the Vishnu Sahasranam also it tells that Vyasaya Vishnu Rupaya Vyasa Rupaya Vishnu. Vyasadeva is considered to be the literary incarnation of Krishna. The same thing we can see in the Bhagavad Gita also. What is that? Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishta matta smrtir gnanam apohanam cha vedaischa sarvair ahameva vedya vedanta krit. Krishna mentions this word Vedanta Krit. Means what is it? I am the compiler of the Vedanta. Who has written Vedanta? Vyasadeva. Krishna is telling why he is Vedanta Krit. Because Vyasadeva is the literary incarnation of Krishna. So that is why we can put full faith in the scriptures that these are not the ordinary words of this mundane world. These are actually coming from the spiritual world. And Prabhupada is simply, he is a transparent via medium of the acharyas. He just given the entire flow of us. That is. So here you can see here, and therefore they are not, but you are above the jurisdiction of all material conceptions. Your name, form, and qualities are all transcendental and beyond the conception of experimental knowledge. So this is very important. So can some people may ask, can you show me God? What can we see God? We are not able to see the small microbes on our hand because we need a medium. We need the microscope to see the microbes in our hand. There are thousands, but we don't see anything. What can we see God unless we have a qualification? What is that qualification? That qualification is Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadeva Hridayeshu Vilo. When somebody develops that love for the Lord by oral reception through the scriptures, then one may actually get the vision of the Lord. So it is very experimental, means it is just simply a waste of time that to understand God and all this. So the same thing we can see in the Brahma Samhita also. You can see here. Panthastu koti shatavatsara sampragamya vayo rathapi manaso munipungavana. Sopyasti yat prapadasinya vichintya tattve govindamadi purusham tama. So even the greatest of the yogis, it is not that a small people, munipungavana, even the greatest of the thinkers and philosophers and the yogis, even if they travel with the mind, with the speed of the mind and the wind, they cannot reach the toenails at best. They can reach the toenails of the Lord, the shine coming from the toenails of the Lord. They just cannot. So here I was hearing that other religions, they know God means generator, operator, destroyer. They know how powerful God is, all these things, but they have no clue about the Lord's form, the transcendental form of the Lord. How so much beauty the Lord possesses. They have no clue, zero clue about the Lord. But here in Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, it is so easily available. Why? Because Bhagavatam is Paramahamsa Samhita. This is meant for the Paramahamsa. So the people who take pleasure in the Bhagavatam is actually the Paramahamsa people, who is expert in separating the all the mundane things from the transcendental things. Correct. So that is why it is said that it is actually very it is a foolish thing to understand Lord through the experimental knowledge. So here it's in the material world, we can perceive only material names and qualities. So this is the another thing. See, if I am thirsty, if I keep on saying that water, 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 can my thirst be quenched? No, it cannot be quenched. Why? Because that's a material name. The water is a material name and the object is different. Correct? But in the case of Krishna, if I say simply Krishna, 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 I'm actually with Krishna. Why? Because the name of Krishna is transcendental. It is actually non-different from Krishna. Correct? So there is a difference between material name and qualities. Correct? So we have no other power than to offer our respectful obeisances and prayers unto the transcendental person. So at best, the jiva actually, actually it's very important to offer the prayers, to offer our respectful prayer. So then which prayers that we need to offer? So we have so many prayers in the Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is full of prayer after prayer after prayer. Correct? So we have seen Queen Kunti's prayers. We have seen so many other prayers are there, right? So so the same thing, if we can just repeat it with the feeling, then it's best. The chanting of your auspicious transcendental qualities will wipe out the sins of all mankind. That is the most auspicious activity. This is the Shivadam, means that gives the auspicious. So in this Kali Yuga, there is no need to do so many, yajna, dana, tapa, so many things are not required. If somebody can just sit and then hear about Krishna, that gives him all the auspiciousness. Correct? Shivadam. Because in the Kali Yuga, people don't have the strength or the resources, or it's all actually a very, very pitiable condition. So Lord just expects that you just hear about me and then develop love for me. That is what it is told, right? Sthane Shrita Shrutigata. So you no need to give up anything. Just sit and hear. You are a Brahmana, Vaishya, Kshatriya, Shudra, no problem. Just sit and hear. This is why, because this is what actually will purify us the most. As we must, we every day we recite, right? Nasta prayesh abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. Just by hearing Krishna katha, everything will follow. Yeah, we can just partially understand. And so this is what again the Lord is, no matter how much we hear, there is always something very, very. Bhaksan Saras Thakur tells that every minute, if we just publish the journal about Lord's glories, that would be very, very insufficient to glorify the Lord, right? So that is the position of the Lord. So purport in the purport, yeah. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead has nothing to do with the material perception. Even the Shankaracharya says, Narayana Paro Avyakta. Narayana is beyond the material conception. So this prayer we keep seeing in all the prayers of Bhagavatam. My dear Lord, you are beyond material nature, you are beyond material moods. Why? Because actually to get out of material moods is impossible. Unless the mercy of Lord is there, it's extremely impossible. That is why, see, if we know the value of this thing, we can actually glorify the same thing, right? So why? Because they know how difficult it is to get out of the material world, material nature. That is why they keep glorifying that, my dear Lord, you are beyond this material nature. So here we must simply accept. We cannot concoct the form and personality. Again, this is one more thing. People may say that, see, we are humans. That is why you make Krishna as human. If the some other animal thinks that, they think something else as a Lord, like no, we are actually taking the information from the authorized scriptures that Krishna is actually he is the Shama, that Tribhanga form, right? So from the scriptures only we take, we don't concoct. That correct? So in the Bible also it is said, right? The man is made in the image of God. Why? Because after creating all the species, the Lord personally want to interact, personally want to develop that loving relation with the human, the jivas. Then he, at the summit of, at the peak of all the realizations, he has created humans. in the same form, so that it's easy to reciprocate with the loving relationships. Yeah. So we must simply accept the description given in the Vedic literature about the Lord's form. What is that? Chintamani prakhara sadma sukalpa vriksha laksha vruteshu surabhi abhipalayantam lakshmi sahasra sata sambrama sevyamanam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. My dear Lord, oh Govinda, you are the Adi. You are the from whom everything came. He is just tending the cows, yielding all desires. So, now this is what Lord is doing in the spiritual world. He is surrounded by millions of purpose. He is served with great awe and reverence by the hundreds and thousands of goddesses of fortune. This is what Lord is doing. We are not concocting. We are simply repeating. We are simply understanding what the great acharyas, who are the Nitya Siddhas, who are the eternal residents of the Goloka, in their meditation, whatever they have seen, they are writing it down, and then we are reading it. Correct. So it is that's very amazing. So we can have some conception of the absolute truth, his form and his attribute, simply by reading the descriptions given in the Vedic literatures and authoritative statements given by exalted personalities like Brahma Samhita, all the Srimad Bhagavatam and everything. So now Rupa Goswami is saying that Atha Sri Krishna Namadi Nabhavid Grahyam Indriye. We cannot conceive the name, form, and qualities of Sri Krishna through our material senses. So this is just impossible. Then what is the solution? The same shloka he is telling that Sevon Mukhehi Jihvado Swayameva Spuratyada. So this is the solution. You have to render service to Krishna, Lord Sri Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, starting with Jihva. What is Jihva? Jihva is tongue. Tongue can do two things. Prabhupada tells, one is eating, one is speaking. So if you eat Krishna Prasadam, if you chant Krishna's holy names and glories, then slowly the Lord will reveal himself by that seva. So that is so it is said that, if you see the ship, it's the whole ocean is there, in that ship is there. There is a small portion of the ship down, it is invisible. That is called rudder. That rudder, actually, it is a small thing, but whichever direction the rudder turns, the whole ship turns the direction. That is what is the mechanics of that ship, whichever the way it turns. So similarly, the tongue is actually the rudder of our ship of the human body. Whichever the tongue does, the whole body, ultimately the mind, the body, everything, so closely connected with the tongue. That is why tongue is called most voracious. So the moment somebody is controlling the tongue, all the senses will automatically will be controlled, and without the help of the senses, the mind will become invalid, because the mind actually works through the senses. Like a hand, I can work through my hand, right? So hand is like a sense, I am like a mind. So the mind works through the senses. If the senses are controlled, the mind has to come in control at one point of time. Correct. So that is why it is said, instead of controlling the mind, try to control the senses, engage the senses. Why? Because it's easy to engage the senses and mind, senses, so that eventually the mind also comes in control, like that. So here it is told that Jihva is actually the main thing that needs to be engaged in Lord's service. Correct. And then, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktyamam Abhijanat Yavanyas. One can understand the Supreme Lord through devotional service only, bhakti. There is no other way. We have to hear from the authorities, from the Shastra, and consider the Supreme Lord in terms of their statements. We cannot imagine. So this is actually, every day we recite the offenses to the holy name, right? So in order to imagine, concoct the glories of the holy name, right? Nature of the holy name. Similarly to form of the holy name also. Form of the Lord also should not be concocted. It is just to be taken, actually, as given in the scriptures. So yeah, we'll go to the next one. So the next shloka tells that Parijananuraga virachita shabala shamshabda salilasita kishalaya tulasika durvan kurair api samhrutaya samparyaya kila parama paritushyasi. O Supreme Lord, you are full in every respect. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avadishyate. When this is what confuses the Mayavadis. If you take so much out of Lord, the Lord also will be decreased. That's what they tell, right? But no, Lord is full. 1 plus 1 equal to 1, 1 minus 1 equal to 1. No matter how much you take, the Lord is still full. This is what confuses, this is what bewilders them. So why? Because they are seeing from the material point of view. In the material sense, you take 10 gulab jamuns are there, you take 5 gulab jamuns, there is only 5 left. How can you say that the 10 is 10 only? That is material calculation. But in the Lord's case, no matter all the material creations comes from the body of the Lord, still the Lord is full. So that is why actually it is so dangerous to concoct. Okay, so you're certainly very satisfied when your devotees offer your prayers with faltering voices and in ecstasy bring you tulasi leaves, water, twigs bearing new leaves, and newly grown grass. This surely makes you satisfied. This is such an amazing thing that in this world, so if you have to please someone or flatter someone, you have to give so many things. But here is the Supreme Lord who is just pleased with just one tulsi leaf. We have seen so many pastimes of Krishna Tulabhara and so many Govardhan pastime and all. How just by keeping one tulsi leaf, Lord is so satisfied. Because all just he wanted is the love from the devotees. Correct. So, because the Lord is Lord of everyone, not just the Lord of rich people. Correct. In fact, the rich people have very meek opportunity to enter into Goloka or Vaikuntha, right? So, because the more rich, the more one becomes proud. But if somebody is rich and he's still humble, that is the mercy of Lord. Right. So here the Lord is so merciful. He's just, if the devotees offer the prayers with just giving tulsi leaves, water, and all, Lord is completely happy. Purport, Prabhupada writes, one does not need great wealth, education, or opulence to satisfy the supreme personality of Godhead. If one is fully absorbed in love and ecstasy, he need offer only a flower and a little water, as stated in Bhagavad Gita. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya praichati. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, flower, fruit, or water, I will accept. It's amazing. The Supreme Lord can be pleased only by the devotional service. Therefore, it is said here that the Lord is surely satisfied by devotion and nothing else. Quoting from the Gautamiya Tantra, the Haribhakta Vilasa state, Tulasidala matrena jalasya chuluke nava vikrinite swamatmanam bhaktebhyo bhaktavatsalaha. Sri Krishna, who is very affectionate towards his devotees, sells himself. This is very important. Sells. What is the meaning of sells? See, in we heard that Supreme Lord will give even the mukti also very easily, but he does not give bhakti very easily. Why? Because he sells himself to the devotee when he gives that bhakti to the devotee. Correct? So many times in the Chaitanya Charitamrita also we have seen Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells, I am the property of Vasudeva Datta. I am the property of Shachi Mata. Like that, he tells why? Because when Lord gives the bhakti, he becomes subservient of the Lord, of the devotee, just like Arjuna. No, Lord became the chariot driver of Arjuna. So sells himself to a devotee who offers merely a tulsi leaf and a palmful of water. The Supreme Lord is causelessly. We have seen Advaita, Lord Advaita Acharya's case also. All he is doing is just offering the Ganga water and praying to Tulsi. Tulsi. Yeah. The Supreme Lord is causelessly merciful upon his devotee, so much so that even the poorest of man can offer him a little water and a flower in devotion and thus please him. This is due to his affectionate dealings with his devotees. So this is what the Lord is so merciful, although so big, so powerful, yet he is so approachable, so easily accessible by the chanting of the holy names. Correct? If somebody just chants the holy name, the Lord is immediately available. So that's a great nature of the Lord. So I'll just take another 2-3 minutes or another 5 minutes. So there is a Astaka, Vrindastaka, just going through. Just like we have Guru Astaka, there is a Vrindastaka also. This is written by Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. This is a very, very beautiful slokas, octet, 8 slokas about Vrindadevi. We'll recite just one or two and then see the translation. Gangeya Champeya Tadidvinindi Rochi Pravaha Snapitatma Vrinde Bandhu Ka Bandhu Jyuti Divya Vasu Vrinde Namaste Charana Ravindam. So this is about Tulsi Maharani. We can offer these prayers, and there is one shloka where it's relevant to us. This is the 8th one. Bhaktya vihina aparadha lakshay kshiptascha kamadi taranga madhye kripamayi tvam sharanam prapanna vrinde namaste charanaravindam. So you can see here the 8th sloka. O merciful one, they who have no devotion and they whom millions of offenses have thrown into the waves of lust and other vices take shelter of you. O Vrinda, I bow to your lotus feet. So it is for a great fortune that actually the Lord brought Tulsi Maharani to this world, that simply by offering prayers to Tulsi Maharani, all the offenses, every day we recite, right? Yani kani cha papani janmantara kritani cha yani kani cha papani brahmatyadikani cha tani tani pranasyanti pradakshina pade pade. What does that mean? That means that even the sins of so many millions of lifetimes will just go away just by doing the pradakshina. So here you can see Vrishabhanu's daughter Radha made you guardian of Krishna's opulent and auspicious abode of Vrindavana, the crest jewel of all Vaikuntha planets. By your order, the groves where Madhava enjoys pastimes are splendidly decorated with blossoming flowers, bumblebees, deer, honey, and other things. O Vrinda, I bow to your lotus feet. Because you became their messenger, the eager and youthful divine couple enjoyed the perfection of transcendental pastimes in the forest. O Vrinda, I bow to your lotus feet. By your mercy, people attain residence in Vrindavan. The desire to serve your master's lotus feet and the desire to assist in the rasa dance. Jetomara sharanaloy, tara vancha purna hoy, kripa kori koro tare, Vrindavanavasi. So this is the meaning. They who are learned in the Sattva Tantra glorify your Krishna's pastime potency. The Tulsi plant is your form in the world of men. O Vrinda, I bow to your lotus feet. A person who is like a bumblebee at the lotus feet of Vrindavana's king and queen, and who reads or hears this Vrindastaka, will eternally reside in Vrindavana and attain loving service to the divine couple. Vrinda Devi Tulsi Maharani ki jai. So, Prabhu, I think I'll stop here, Prabhu. It's already 8:10. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much for a very nice class, Prabhuji. You actually started the class with by describing and narrating the beautiful form of the Lord, and also you actually quoted what is actually seeing the Lord. Seeing the Lord means hearing the greatness of the Lord, hearing the pastime of the Lord, and then only we can actually see the Lord. And then you actually narrated a few pastimes, and then I think you made one very important point, like what is the constitutional position. Also quoting the Kulasekara Alvar's prayer, Bhritya 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 Dasana 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 Dasa. emphasized on that point of being servant of the servant of the servant. And then in the last, you described the glories of Tulsi Maharani. The greatest gift that Lord Krishna has given is bringing Tulsi Maharani to this earthly planet. How one can actually get easily the spiritual benefits by worshipping Tulsi Maharani. Thank you, Prabhuji. It was a very nice class. Thank you. Devotees, you may please unmute your line and share any questions or comments or reflections that you may have.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah, Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji. Prabhuji,
Dayamay Prabhu. Hari Bol. Hare. Yes,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna. Prabhuji, the human beings, you were mentioning the human beings were created by the Lord when Lord with a higher realization.
Yeah, yes. Not the higher realization, Prabhu. There is, the Lord always wants the reciprocation, right?
Yes,
Reciprocation with the devotees. So even the animals also there, but it's easy for us. See, humans have the highest level of maturity, right? Compared to all the animals, humans were given the intelligence to understand about Krishna and to develop that connection with Krishna, correct? So in order to facilitate the dealings, facilitate that reciprocation. Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, Prabhuji. My question is, if that is the situation, then what are the causes for a human being to behave on par with the animals, Prabhuji?
So that is a Jiva's free will, Prabhu. So it's all Jiva's free will. So see, there is an opportunity is there, Prabhu. See, if somebody is entering into IIT, it is not easy to enter into IIT, right? He has done a lot of work, but after entering into IIT, he has to study. He has a free will, correct? Whether to study or to whether to roam around and then whether to smoke, drink, and like that. He has the free will. So we have seen the people who are very intelligent. In my own case, in my BTech, there is one college topper. He is the rank of 200 out of some 5 lakhs people have written. 200 was the rank. He's the college topper. He came in. He's my super senior. By the time I entered, he was in his 7th year of BTech or 7th or 6th year. So he was the college topper, but he misused that free will. Correct now. So similarly, human body, to get the human body is extremely rare. Correct. But after getting the human body, there is so much, the Lord, he is giving the scriptures, he is giving the devotees, he is giving the dhams, holy rivers, holy deities, everything is available. But if I am not taking proper this one, and obviously I will behave like an animal only, because we know ahara nidra bhayamaitunam cha samanyametat pashvi naranam dharmo itesho adhika visesha. So it is my free will. I am not taking it, so that is why Lord need not be blamed. Correct, no?
Yes, Prabhuji. Free will and the cause of 3 modes, Prabhuji.
3 modes. Yeah, we all know the raindrop, when it is pure, if it falls in that oyster, it becomes a pearl. If it falls on the ground, it will become muddy. So whichever the place it associates with, it'll again get this quality, right? So similarly, this one, whatever the association we had, the upbringing, karma, all these things matter, that one actually tends to become like an animal.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
He had that opportunity, chance is there, but he is not utilizing it. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for the wonderful class, Prabhu. Nice example by that radar.
Hare Krishna.
That's very, very how you explained how senses are so powerful. With a small sense that is exposed, everything can go topsy-turvy. Thank you very much.
And the most amazing thing is the radar also, the shape of the radar is looking like a tongue only. You can see. So
okay.
That's most.
Sure.
Yeah. I was hearing from Mara's class, so that's why. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you so much. But the control is always to remember the Lord. How to really control, Prabhu. That is the instrument that we can understand. But
Ah.
if we have to control it, constantly chanting, what are the steps, Prabhu? Like how to constantly remember Lord, even in amidst of our so many activities we are involved in.
Correct, Prabhu. Yeah. So, Prabhu, that's what Prabhu. I mean, see, we can put our endeavor definitely, but unless there is a higher taste, it's very difficult, Prabhu. We all know that, right? So, param drishtva nivartate. So, if that when the higher taste comes, then it will become easy. Otherwise, it will be little difficult. But that struggle, we should always be clear that that struggle is pleasing to Krishna. So all happens when in my humble understanding, Prabhu, I can say that the more actually one hears about the Krishna and the nature of Krishna and this one, then that so it actually it becomes quite little easy, Prabhu. It becomes little easy. The more we see the presence of Krishna, we try to hear about Krishna. It will be easy, I felt, Prabhu. That higher taste automatically comes, and then the serving the Lord and the Vaishnavas, it definitely helps for the Lord and the Vaishnavas. Yeah, they by their blessings and mercy, we will be able to go. Yeah. So practically, yes, you're asking practically. Yeah. So obviously, the holy name, that the mercy of God, we can chant in the mind. We can chant every time. We can keep chanting. Okay, so that at least the tongue is in control. It is not going towards the gossip and things like that. At least the tongue is in control. So we can keep chanting Hare Krishna. So that will, in that way, it will be in control. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Yeah.
Can I add one point, Prabhuji, on this? The
Yeah,
constant.
please, bro. Yes. I would like to hear actually.
I heard once in the class of His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj, a similar question was asked to him. Maharaj was saying, we need to remember the Lord 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. But that's a vision, the ideal goal. For that, for us to reach that position, how we are spending our sadhana, morning sadhana, like 3 or 4 hours, the quality of attention that we give, that 3 or 4 hours, it's going to be, having a bigger impact on the rest of the day. And also, the 3 hours, the quality of 3 hours is also dependent on what we do on the rest of the day. So it is actually intertwined.
Okay.
So that's what Maharaj was telling. It depends on the 3-4 hours of time that we spend in the morning and also the rest of the day. Apart, outside the sadhana, our activities should be in such a way that we are our activities are more closer or aligned to the sattvic nature, and that way the rest of the the day will be much easier, and also the morning sadhana will be qualitative.
Wonderful, bro. So it's intertwined. So yeah. So whatever the chanting morning does, that will affect our consciousness during the day. Whatever the activity we does, that will affect our chanting in the next day.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, bro. Okay. Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. So nice, wonderful nectar in the morning with a lot of practical examples.
So I'm just telling what you are all doing, Proji. You are all living Bhagavatam. So simply pray.
When you say remembering, I remember once somebody asked Prabhupada saying that, Swamiji, sometime I forget Krishna. He said, no, sometime you're not forgetting. Only sometime remember, rest of the day you forget Krishna.
Correct. Yeah. Oh, Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you for Thank you, Prabhu.
I mean, this when you are telling about remembering of the Lord, so we can remember the Lord in multiple ways, like Nama, Rupa, Guna, and Leela of the forms of the Lord. So for the Nama, we have like Haridas Thakur. We can take an example, like how we can realize the Nama. Rupa, maybe yesterday Prabhuji was telling Dhanurdhar example. So by looking at the form of the Lord, he got his realization.
Right. Yes.
So who are the example for like whom we can realize for Gunas and Leelas? Can give.
Gunas and Leelas. So I think Prahlad Maharaj, he's keep on remembering the Lord, right? Wherever he sees, he remembers Krishna. Either he is thrown from the hill or in the snake pit, he's still remembering Krishna. So he is actually an example of how the remembrance can be. Prahlad Maharaj. And there are so many other devotees, probably. Prabhu, I think others also can share, Prabhuji. It's not coming to my mind.
Yesterday, Haridev Krishna Prabhu was sharing, Rukmini Devi is a great example of how she was hearing through the Brahmana about the pastimes of the Lord, and also the Patnis, Brahmana Patnis, how they were hearing the glories of the Lord through gopis. He was quoting the other two examples.
So I was hearing that, see, in that Rukmani's brother is Rukmi, correct? And all the 5 brothers and his father, they were all kind of against, because they all wanted her to get married to Shishupal. But only she was actually gaining the strength from hearing, correct? So all of our senses and the mind are like Rukmi and all the others. So if we can just lend our ear to the Krishna, then it will conquer eventually all the other senses also. I was just hearing in one of the lectures. So how important that we need to hear. No, it's mentioning that. Yeah. Prabhu, Sudarshan Prabhu, I think you got the answer from Prabhuji.
Yeah, so that talks about Leelas. Maybe they were all hearing about the Leelas of the Lord. So we can take them as. Is there someone like to talk about the Gunas, people who are attracted for the Gunas of the Lord?
Who are attracted by the Gunas?
We can take example of a cobbler who always, kind of had a faith of, Lord's kind of what is that called? Capabilities, guna.
Brahmana and
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Like the needle and the elephant example is
the needle and elephant example.
Okay.
And
thank you, Prabhuji.
Gunas, yeah, yes, Prabhuji. Yes, thank you. Yeah,
Thank you, devotees. Thank you. It was a very nice class, Sankarshan Nitai Prabhu. We want to hear again and again on a regular basis. Thank you, devotees.
I'm just speaking, but please, if all of you show your mercy, then I can practice. That is my sincere prayer. That's it.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for devotees for attentive hearing and wonderful questions. We will end today's session with Vaishnava Pranam. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindho vyayeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, अंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। Thy गौर प्रेमानंदे हरे हरि बोल। हरे कृष्ण। Hare Krishna devotees, Krishna willing, we will meet again tomorrow morning for Srila Prabhupada Shikshamrita. Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, Dandavad Pranam. Thanks.